Hey guys, William here, aka Big Bastard. So here's the first of those videos I promised. The one with the trilogy of Adolf Hitler versus Darth Vader. A few things to mention. So a lot of times going through here, I've already seen these repeated times. I usually know the majority of the content, if not all of it. And my goal here is to not pause as much as other people might have to when explaining it. And I also have an advantage in that what I'll do is I'll view it before I start this so that I can refresh everything I know and be able to pick my spots where I want to pause a little bit better, because I want to actually get it's kind of distracting when you just pause during the whole thing and explaining. I'd like them to be able to get through a line and then break down that line. Get through a line and break down that line. Ideal in writing, it's a process we know is line by line editing. It's really good for picking out inaccuracies. So that's the goal here for this video. I'm also going to change up what I said about going from season 1 to season 6 in order. What I'm probably going to do, because I got to think about this being post-Halloween, and I had been watching some ERB videos, and I realized how they were stringing together in my playlist. So you could do like a horror-themed ERB session. You could do a superhero-themed ERB session, and I might break some of those down into those clusters and do a cluster of those each week. If I can do the whole cluster in a week, hopefully that's my preference. Or I just might theme out through a variety of weeks over the material. But that's the goal. But with everything said, and no more ado, we will begin with Adolf Hitler versus Darth Vader epic rap battle, the trilogy, right now.
Epic rap battles of history! Darth Vader versus Adolf Hitler! Begin!
I am Adolf Hitler! Command of the Third Reich! Little known fact, also dope on the mic! You are Vader, with your little boots and cape, and helmet to cover up that burnt-ass face! You have the Force to move objects. I am a Force truly evil, even went back in time and turned you back as a prequel! Cause look at you, you're not even a real person! I preferred you in Spaceballs, the Rick Moranis version!
Okay, so what we got here, we start off with, I won't say it's a really strong, it's a solid flex by Hitler, talking about everything he is, everything he can do, how evil he is, versus Vader, who's, not so evil and just kind of a cartoon character. An interesting thing to know, and I don't know if anyone's picked up on this, Hitler starts off and he says, this is who I am, this is what I'm about, but then he turns around and instead of just straight out dissing Vader by telling him this is who you, or what you're about, he starts off with this is who you are. So it's almost like he's insultingly patronizing Vader by giving the insinuation that Vader is so stupid that he doesn't even know who he is. And then, of course, he lists all the negative things about Vader that a person could summarize it as true if they were to believe what Hitler was saying. Now, Hitler says he's dope on the mic. Obviously, we don't know much about Hitler's singing skills, but we do know that he was a very powerful and persuasive speaker. He really rallied the people up during World War II in Germany and was able to impose his will because of his charisma, because of his speechmanship. And there's a lot of argument about why Hitler was so charismatic. I won't go into that now, but it's important to know he really was dope on the mic in regards of getting people riled up about certain things. So he, I almost most miss this. So he talks about Spaceballs. Spaceballs is a Mel Brooks comedy that's a spoof on Star Wars, and in it Rick Moranis played the Darth Vader character. Obviously they didn't call him Darth Vader. If you haven't seen it, give it a look. It is funny as hell, but he's literally basically pissing on him and saying, you're so caricaturized that the spoof of you was a much better Dark Lord than you'll ever be.
Can't rhyme against the dark side of the force, why even bother? So many dudes been with your mom, who even knows if I'm your father? You're a pissed off little prick with a Napoleon dick. You call that a mustache? I call that dirty Sanchez on your lip.
Okay, so I don't know about the infidelity of Hitler's mother. You know, possible she was very loose. Now, it is interesting to know, though, that when he starts taking shots at Hitler's package, okay, he references another dictator, Napoleon, who was known for being short. And, more so, the comparisons between Hitler and Napoleon, just in general, in real life comparisons that people make, are that they were very similar in a lot of regards. So he's kind of conveying this through the diss also, that, you know, he's about, if he's anything, and maybe he's not even another Napoleon. And you'll actually see this come up again later. But as far as Dirty Sanchez, I don't know what that remark means, but obviously I get the gist. So I'll just leave that. Basically, BJ, I'll leave that there. But I don't have any context for that reference myself, and I should, as old as I am.
You bitch! Let me remind you who you're messing with. Everything that you did, I'm the motherfucker who invented it. I'm the original Dark Lord. You're like the Sorcerer's Apprentice. My stormtroopers make yours look like someone took a piece of shit and cloned it.
So here, what he's saying is he's like, you know, you call yourself the ultimate evil, but I'm really the ultimate evil. I've done all this horrible crap that you can't even imagine, which Vader can't even begin to lay that claim from what we've seen. Yes, the temple massacre of the children, that by Anakin, that's one thing, but overall I don't know that Vader can actually claim or flex on Hitler about being evil. Now, I will say this, the stormtrooper remark was one that could have, and it doesn't, but it was one that could have easily been flipped on Vader, because Hitler did have the original stormtroopers. In fact, I believe it's what Lucas's stormtroopers were loosely based on. Of course, everybody knows, who knows Star Wars, knows the typical caricature of the Lucas stormtroopers. They're very stupid. They're brainless. They cannot aim for shit. That did get upgraded in the later movies. But yeah, no, Vader should not have gone there. It was an unwise decision, because that could have easily been flipped on him. Because Hitler's stormtroopers were the most feared elite warriors that Hitler had. And literally, you could tell somebody the stormtroopers are coming, and that would just make the entire populace resonate with fear. So, yeah, that was an unwise move by Vader.
You stink, Vader! Your star smells something sour! You need to wash up, dog! Here, step in my shower! I'll turn all your friends against you, just my speeches breed haters! What's your lightsaber verse, a clan of all your white neighbors?
Okay, so here what we have is, there's a subtle implication by Adolf Hitler that you look at Vader, okay, he looks black. Now, we know Anakin was white, and Vader is obviously voiced by African American. Here, he's sitting there and saying, you know, look at what I can do. He's like, my charisma, my presence is so strong that I can literally turn all your white people, your white neighbors against you. It's subtly implying that racist element, of turning white against black. And I don't know if people tend to catch that. Now, you heard the earlier remark, you stink, about stepping into a shower. I don't remember the whole thing, but you know where he said, step into my shower. In World War II, the Nazis had these gas chambers that appeared as showers, and they would take the people in, masses of Jews in, and they would sit there and get them in groups in these showers, and then they would gas them to death. Now, obviously, as I explain that, people are like, "Oh shit, that's horrible. He should have said that." But another commentator that I had linked to in my previous video, he pointed out, he's like, hey, that's pretty low, but that is the type of thing this person would say. That is a very Hitler type speech, a Hitler type remark. The fact is, Hitler would probably say worse than that. So I do applaud ERB for staying true to the character. I know a lot of people today get very sensitive about certain topics and issues, and I understand. We all have those issues we get sensitive about. But I still appreciate the fact that ERB is willing to kind of feel the waters out and kind of test that. Well, not even test it. They kind of brazenly go there because, it's like we're not mocking this. We're doing a caricature of this person. This is the way this person would think and speak. If you can, there's one thing that you can definitely, an accusation you can definitely lay at ERB's door, and that is they are very true to characterization. Straight through from beginning to end, every single rap battle is true to characterization. That does bite them in one battle, in the ass in a big way. We'll get to that later, but I think a lot of people who are diehard ERB fans already know what I'm talking about.
Suck my robot balls. Now take a step back and let me freeze yours off. A little carbonite back for your goose stepping ass. We'll call my homeboy in Israel. See who got the last laugh.
So here you see Vader kind of winning, hypothetically, the rap battle because he got Adolf Hitler into a position where he could be frozen in carbonite. It kind of mirrors what he did when he was trying to position Luke in the carbonite chamber in Empire Strikes Back, except he obviously just, with Adolf Hitler, threw him into position, basically. And then he actually turns on Hitler when the what's your lightsaber versus a clan of your white neighbors remark by saying, I have a stormtrooper in Israel. Well, Israel is the home of the Jews, and he's like, you think you got the last laugh. I actually got the last laugh. And I remember now that I did overlook one thing when talking about the whole versus a clan of your white neighbor, lightsaber versus a clan of your white neighbors. He said something about Vader needing a lifesaver. Obviously, that's a play on lightsaber, if you didn't catch that. But so that's the breakdown for part one. And there's a little bit of a delay, but we'll pretty much instantly go into part two, where I will actually pause at the beginning to give some context to the scene that's going to unfold for those who may not know what's going on.
What? Who's next? You decide. Rapid rap battles of history.
I like the fact that Nice Peter's playing the robot. That's kind of funny. So I don't know if you're familiar with the scene, but where we're starting off here is a scene early on in Return of the Jedi. Earlier, this bounty hunter, Bush, had shown up and basically wanted to work for Jabba, but Jabba didn't want Bush's services. Bush, however you say that, Bush. Anyhow, and the bounty hunter made a threatening gesture that could have like wiped off Jabba's palace off the face of Tatooine, and Jabba thought that the bounty hunter had guts and decided to go ahead and allow the bounty hunter in to his employ. In the movie, the bounty hunter goes down and releases Han Solo from carbonite, and Han Solo's blind. The bounty hunter tells him it's carbonite sickness, which I think is fucking funny. Everybody gets bent in Star Wars about the gaping shaft that Luke shot a fucking torpedo through. It's an exhaust shaft. I'm not even going to address that. That rant's in fucking Rogue One if you want, in my fucking Rogue One video if you want to see it. But okay, everybody harps on this, yet they don't even know simple things like this. How do we know he has hibernation sickness? No one's fucking been carbonized before. It was something that had never been done to a human if you listen to Lando in Empire Strikes Back. Well, you have hibernation sickness. How do you know that? Anyhow, he comes out blind, and you'll see coming up, he falls into the bounty hunter's arms. And he's kind of feeling the face because he can't see. He's like, "Who are you?" The bounty hunter removes the helmet. It's Leia. And she says, "Someone who loves you." Now, you've already got your first few lines in the rap broken down. And you'll see what I mean when we start here.
Now stand up and ride. I only thought you out so I could beat your ass a second time. Roar like Chewbacca, the voice of Mufasa. I'm on the leader of your Olympic Mufasa.
Okay, so a few things to note here immediately, and again, I don't like breaking down during lines. I like to try to let him get as many lines out as possible. I will say Vader starts off with a fucking bang here, obviously. Okay, now I don't know about roar like Chewbacca. That just might have been an allusion to just fierce vocalizations. The voice of Mufasa refers to the fact that James Earl Jones, the African American and a great actor, who voiced Darth Vader, also voiced Mufasa. And when he talks about here on the wow, why am I having troubles with that? Limp Dick Luftwaffe. Okay, the Luftwaffe was the elite air force of Germany's ranks. Okay, so they were the best of the best, and he's literally saying, like, that shit ain't nothing.
I strike back hard against a Nazi. Brain toss your ass in the air. Yahtzee.
Okay, so this is kind of interesting because you have the Empire Strikes Back reference, but when you talk about I strike back hard against the Nazi, there's actually going to be a connection with kind of a verse coming up, and I shouldn't have paused as early as I did, but sometimes they go fast enough that I want to make sure I'm caught up. The brain toss your head in the air, Yahtzee, that was basically a reference to his force throwing powers, which Adolf Hitler already mocked, because remember, he was sitting there and he's like, "You're so bad, but look, you can't even," and some of this I didn't get addressed in the old one, but I thought was kind of obvious, but I'll do it here in case it was missed. Basically, Hitler was saying, look, you're so powerful, yet you can't get your respirator fixed, you can't get decent respirator, okay, and that force doesn't do nothing for that, and you just basically move objects. Yippee. Okay, now basically Vader's flexing on that.
Ask Indiana Jones who the fuck I am.
Okay, so this is the remark that ties into the other one, and you might not see how initially at first. First of all, we have the Indiana Jones reference, which is referring to the fact that Mark Hamill, who played Han Solo, also played Indiana Jones. But the third movie, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, had, well, actually Raiders of the Lost Ark also had it. But from Raiders of the Lost Ark, there's the filler movie, if you will, the Temple of Doom. I'm not going to get into that. To Last Crusade, it had Indiana Jones fighting Nazis pretty much repeatedly. So that kind of ties into that remark of striking back hard against a Nazi.
I've been sick shit so focused, I'll break your concentration camp. I'm a certified Sith Lord, you want? So suck on these.
These what?
These what, sir?
These robot nuts.
Okay, so you heard him say, I spit shit so focused, I break your concentration camp. He's, not only is he saying his rap attack is so fierce that's gonna literally break Adolf's concentration while he's trying to do his reply, but it's a play on the concentration camps that Hitler had where he was killing the Jewish people.
I'm gonna enjoy watching you die, so let me do it, get my food.
So, okay, right there, there's a scene at the end of Return of the Jedi where pretty much Vader has redeemed himself. He and Luke had the lightsaber battle. Emperor was going to kill Luke, and Vader steps in and saves his son, but gets very electrocuted badly doing so, and obviously there's a majority of electric componentry in his body. Luke drags him to a shuttle, but Vader knows he's not going to make it, and on the ramp of the shuttle he tells Luke to remove his mask, and Luke's like, but you'll die. And he said, just one time, I want to see you with my own eyes. And that's the reference there on that.
Dress Vader, you appear to be in pain. You need a vacation. Here, take a trip on my tray. I mean, you needing an army of white men? Disgraceful. Even your mic skills still aren't fully operational.
Okay, so where, and I need to quit saying okay, that really pisses me off. Sorry, guys. So where this starts off, and actually that just kind of broke my concentration. So we'll go back a little.
You look stressed, Vader. You appear to be in pain. You need a vacation. Here, take a trip on my tray.
Okay, so what the... Wow, I did it again. Sorry, guys. What this is referencing here is they would mass the Jewish people on trains and deliver them by rail to the concentration camps. And that's how they pretty much transported them, as if they were just raw cattle.
I mean, you needing an army of white men? Disgraceful.
There again, you see the reference, kind of the implied reference of you're a black, basically a black person, and that would be just totally, utterly out of place and disgusting for you to lead a white people. And then here he says, even your mic skills aren't operational. This refers to Return of the Jedi also, where the battle station was not complete. And there was a bunch of talking, I don't remember, oh, yes, there was something about, the Emperor replied to Luke about the battle station. Luke didn't think, he's basically jabbing at Luke because he's like, you don't think that this battle station is fully operational, and then he shows a demonstration of power, and it is.
Your mic skills still aren't fully operational. You got white bitch pregnant and gave into the hate. Now you're 6'6" and black but can't get a date. Ugh, lightsaber, you need a lifesaver. Use some of your force to fix your fucking respirator.
Okay, so no wonder I did not get that in the old one. Sometimes these get kind of mixed together for me. Now, what he's alluding to here in the first part, I already explained the other ahead of time. Sorry about that, my bad. What he's alluding to in the first part was with Anakin in the whole prequel thing, falling in love with Padme. Then they had sex. He wasn't supposed to have intimate relations at all, according to the Jedi Code, but they ended up doing that. She had twins, and when he says you gave in to the hate, that was basically when Anakin just snapped toward the end, and Padme hadn't even died yet, and Anakin just went all fucking Dark Lord, and it broke her heart. And some think that Padme died of a broken heart. That bit was a bit ridiculous. That whole thing. Well, the prequel, so pretty ridiculous all around. Although I think the third one gets more shit than it should, but I'm not gonna get into that. And then everything I had mentioned, obviously, about the respirator. You need a lifesaver. You play on lightsaber. You're so powerful you can't do this.
You think you're powerful with your finger that pinches? You couldn't even get your own son into the family business. Everything you do is an epic fail. Now stand at attention and sing fucking hair.
Okay, so wow, I've got to stop that. I hope you guys don't get frustrated with me as I do when I hear that. Right there, he again telling him, you're so failed. You couldn't even get Luke to turn to the dark side, which that's what that remark was about. And then Sig Heil was a German, and I don't remember what it means, but it was a German chant that they would say Sig Heil Hitler. And a lot of people who know more about what that is can fill me in. Here we're going to see We're going to see Darth Vader kind of act like he's throwing a tantrum, but you'll see a little more to it than that.
Wrong, Annie! Can't take it anymore! Not surprising coming from the Emperor's whore! Yeah, take that! What's the matter? Where is the DJ? Why are you laughing?
Because you're standing over the rank orbit.
So there was obviously another Jedi reference there if you didn't catch it. When Luke goes to confront Jabba, he gets close to him. Jabba starts laughing. I don't remember if Luke says anything or not, but there's kind of the sense of, okay, why are you thinking this is so funny? And then 3PO starts to say, Master Luke, you're standing over, and then Jabba slams him, smacks him aside, and slams the button to drop him into the Rancor pit. So that's the illusion there. By the way, if you're wondering who I'm voting for on these, in the first one, I thought that they were fairly even. I would have to, even after doing this analysis, I would have to go back and really look at it in depth to make a decision. I want to say I gave that one to Vader. This one I actually give to Hitler because I think he had more disses. I think he got more flow. Vader started off powerful, but then Hitler came back at him just as good, and with every bit that Vader was dishing out, and then Vader basically reduces to the cheap trick of dropping him into the Rancor pit. So, I mean, if you're going by like what has been done to Hitler physically, obviously Vader's 2-0 because he's one-upped him each time. But right now, I'm going to say this right now. I might revise my opinion. I'll go back and check. If I do, I'll let you know in the comments. But right now I'm saying Vader took the first one. Adolf Hitler took the second one. So waste no time.
Vader, this is your last chance. Battle me or die.
Darth Vader.
So the starting scene is from, obviously, Return of the Jedi. There's actually a reversal of good guy and bad guy, depending on how you want to view the good guys and bad guys in here. Adolf Hitler is in the role of Luke. You notice he looked to that other skiff guard, and I want to say that was Bill Gates. And he kind of nods. That was actually Lando Calrissian in the movie. You saw the Sarlacc pit that he was about to step into. You saw Stephen Hawking, who we'll see later, roll around into a certain position. He's representative of R2-D2, and of course there's Vader, who should have been Jabba, and Luke tells Jabba, he says, "Jabba, I'm giving you one last chance. Release my friends or die." And then that's where this all picks up. You know, Luke went to step off. I will say it's funny, if you notice Hitler in that, he goose steps off of there, off the platform, which I thought was hilarious. I only just caught that earlier today. I'm not shitting you, after watching this hundreds of times. And then Stephen Hawking shoots the mic into his hand when he flips up and grabs it. In the movie, obviously, R2-D2 shot Luke his lightsaber. Pretty much the same thing, except Luke didn't obviously goose step off of the plank. I gotta say, I'm gonna warn you guys, I don't think Hitler started off quite well here. And even if you could say he starts off well, it just goes to hell really fast. It won't be hard to call a winner for this.
Screw you, you big black cunt! I'll kick your balls in your face! A war on two fronts! The fear will crush the dark side! Like a rap apartheid! I put the jam into Germany! I'm sick on this mic!
So there are a few things that need to be covered already. First of all, he talks about, and I'm kind of forgetting the first one. Oh, War on Two Fronts, talks about the War on Two Fronts. America had invaded Germany, and the way they had split up their forces, they called it War on Two Fronts. I want to say it actually had to do with some sort of movement in Russia, but I don't remember. Oh, I do know that Russia was supposed to pound Germany from one side. But at any rate, so the Allied offensive was fighting a war on two fronts against Hitler, as they called it. And then he says he puts the germ in Germany. This alludes to the fact that Hitler had been experimenting in biological warfare. And I gotta go back shortly to catch the one reference.
On two fronts, the fear will crush the dark side!
Oh. So he mentions a rap apartheid. If you're not familiar with the apartheid, it had to do with, and I want to say it was the British trying to take over Africa, and they ended up killing a lot of people. It was almost a genocide. I don't remember if it was the British or not, but basically the gist you need to get is this was white people trying to do a genocide in Africa. And I gotta look it up again. You know, it's been a while since I've heard about it. That's just the gist. Somebody can, if you want to, leave it in the comments about how accurate or inaccurate I am. Feel free to. I'm always open to being educated. So, just so we're clear on that.
Like a rap apartheid! I put the jam into Germany! I'm sick on this mic! I beat you twice, you sellout! Now you...
I'm sick on this mic is also tied into the germ in Germany. Now we're gonna hit where the whole Disney sale, and if you ask me, this is where things kind of start to break down. Hitler's doing good right now. Okay, he's doing good. I won't say this is exactly 100% solid. I thought his first round was much better than what he's doing here, but this is much more solid than what we're gonna see coming up, and you'll see why.
You bow down to Mickey Mouse! You call yourself a Dark Lord? You couldn't even conquer Space Mountain! You're just a sad-ass medic robot freak who needs some lovin'! But I baked you something! Here! Pop it to my oven!
Okay, so the oven remark is in the same context as the trains, and the showers, they would literally cremate the remains of the Jewish people in these big ovens, and they were killing so many that the skies were literally dark with these cremation fumes. So that's what that's referencing. I'm going to say that Vader is going to come out just hammering this shit big time. I mean, you talk about war on two fronts. He's just going to bring it. He's going to blitzkrieg all over Hitler's ass on this in a moment.
Let me paint you a picture, son. Portrait of a bitch after World War I. You a story of the fears of the German people, telling the world that the Jews are evil. You wrote a little book, got 'em fired up. Had a beer hall book, got 'em fired up. When your bunker started getting fired up, you put a gun in your mouth and fired up.
Okay, so sorry, I'm gonna try to catch that every time I do it. So starting off there, we see Vader saying, hold on. That one moves a little bit fast. Oh, he talks about Hitler, sad portrait of Hitler after World War I. What happened in World War I is Germany actually didn't even really want in that war. Basically, to contextualize this in the most simplified way possible, like in that area, pretty much everybody decided to get on two sides and hold a tenuous peace. If action was created against one side by the other, then boom, all hell would break loose, because the others that had made the pact with them would be expected to defend. The Archduke Ferdinand had been assassinated. As far as I know, we still don't know who did that. That literally started World War I. Germany had to rally to the aid of, I believe it was Austria. I don't remember. But they had to rally to the aid of their allies. They got screwed over big time at the end of World War I. They were punished disproportionately harshly. For the fact is, I think they pretty much dropped the allies. Well, there weren't allies, but I don't think there was allies. They didn't have the allies in access to, but the force, the winning force, basically punished Hitler or Germany big time, and it pissed Hitler off. It enraged him.
Stardust met a robot freak who needs some loving. But I baked you something. Here, pop it to my oven.
Let me paint you a picture, son. Portrait of a bitch after World War I. You a story of the fears of the German people.
So Hitler was obviously very outspoken about this situation. There was also other things going on at this time. Now, I want you to understand, anti-Semitism has always been a big thing in the world, in the world's history, okay? But in Germany at the time, it was especially prevalent. For some reason, the Jews were being blamed for all, and this wasn't Hitler's concept. This was before Hitler. This was actually ingrained in literature Hitler was reading. And the Jews were being blamed for all of Germany's ills. And with all the social crises and economic issues that was going on then, many people, not just Hitler, but Hitler was one key person that was particularly vocal about all of these issues going on, and pretty much how the German people got screwed in World War I.
Telling the world that the Jews are evil. You wrote a little book, got 'em fired up.
The little book happens to be one of the most infamous books in history, Hitler's Mein Kampf, and it's literally his manifesto of what Nazi Germany would become. Those who've read it, I haven't yet read it, and I need to. Those who have read it said it comes off as incoherent and disjointed a lot of times, but there's definitely the hatred and the basic formulation of what would happen in the eventual Nazi regime. beer hall push. Okay, now I know the term push. I'm not familiar with it. I've heard it, but I'm trying to recollect what it means, because I do know what it means, but I haven't heard it for a while, haven't used it for a while, so I'm pretty much lost out on that from disintegrating neurons from age. Now, the beer hall reference, though, what happened was, in a particular beer hall, Hitler had pretty much attempted the first stage of revolution. He really, really worked some people up, and boom, they got busted in on, got arrested, and Hitler was in jail, and in his time in jail, he wrote Mein Kampf.
Had a beer hall, got it fired up. When your bunker started getting fired up, you put a gun in your mouth and fired up.
When Hitler ended up when the Allies were pretty much on the verge of collapsing Germany, Hitler in his bunker, he had made his family take cyanide, and I think he took cyanide as well, but it wasn't working, or some other reason. He took a revolver, stuck it in his mouth, pulled the trigger, and committed suicide.
Dumb motherfucker, didn't Napoleon let you know when you conquer Russia, better pack some fucking winter clothes?
What he's discussing here is the Germans stormed Russia during a really, really bad blizzard, and it went nasty for them. There was a lot of fatalities just from the weather alone, and it really ate up the German lines that were going in there. Napoleon had also made a similar mistake. I don't remember exactly the circumstances, but basically, suffice it to say, Napoleon tried storming Russia under fairly similar circumstances, got screwed as well. By the weather, no less. And that was that other reference that I told you would be coming up. You see this continuous tie between Napoleon and Hitler throughout these ERBs, which I think is brilliant.
When you're fighting off Valkyrie, I got a million clones, take time for me. My bounty hunters ride for me. Yo, homeboy, finish this ride for me.
They call me Boba Fett, you wanna mess with me? I'll put my balls in your mouth like Boba Tea. I got a jetpack, yo, you know I steal the show, cause when I rock a microphone,
Okay, now that was awesome, and I'll tell you why. There was some really intense layering. I said there wasn't much layering until Season 4, but there was some really intense layering with the Boba Fett lines. So when he talks about, I'll stick my balls in your mouth and you'll call me Boba Tea, there's 3 references here. Boba is a play on his name, obviously. Tea bagging is something that's, well, you guys know what teabagging is, but it's become, as I understand it, prevalent in first-person shooters for some reason. And if you don't know what teabagging is, look it up. And then there's the Boba Tea remark, which is extremely funny how they tie that together, because if you've ever had boba tea, you know there's little pearls in it, or balls. So they cleverly tie all these elements together in a beautifully layered verse that is just remarkable as far as I'm concerned. And then Hitler lost it. I'm not going to reference anything about the jetpack. My thoughts on that get mentioned by this guy here, Deadpool, in a much later battle rap.
Oh, sick! Hell no!
This
You're
is
not
where
going
Hitler
to cheat
starts
me,
to
Mr. Sunglasses all the time! I'll take you and your new boyfriend Goofy and all your sperming soldier guys and throw you in a butthole in the sand! I am Hitler!
Clearly,
Bullshit!
Hitler won. Or, I mean, clearly,
Bullshit!
Vader won that one, because not only did his rap just blow away anything that Hitler was doing, once again, he obviously got the one-up, the final one-up, in what you might call a physical confrontation that had been building between these two throughout the past. So that's the breakdown on the Darth Vader versus Hitler trilogy. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was informative. If I went too fast or that, let me know. If you have issues with my narration in general for any reasons, let me know. It's been a while since I've done a video at my show. and I'm hoping that the next ones will be a bit smoother than this. But yeah, that's it for that. And this is Big Bastard signing out. Thanks for watching. If you guys liked and enjoy this, then like and subscribe. Thank you. Oops.